Hey everybody, welcome to the program WRSA Radio. I'm your host G1 as always. Hope you're having a good week. I'm a little late this week getting the show out, and it's going to be a short one unfortunately. I didn't really have time to do a proper recording this week, but because last week I missed an episode, I felt like I needed to put something in the can for you guys to thank you all for being loyal listeners all these years. So, what have I been up to? Well, I've had a very busy week, a very busy couple of weeks. I have been out of town most of the days last week. This week, not so much, but yesterday I was out of town all day. Didn't get home until really get in the house and kind of get settled in until about 9 o'clock last night. Because I've been down in the big city helping a dear friend of mine move out of his apartment. And it's been a lot of work. It's just the two of us. And there's been some logistical challenges that we've had to get over and some stories to tell, but we managed to beat it up real good and get it to a point where, at least he's got maybe one or two trips. He's got just his last little bit of stuff that he's got to go through, and I think he's going to be able to knock that out himself right here at the inn, which is really good. It's great for him. I am really, really happy for him that he will finally be out of the city. But it is a little bit of a bittersweet time for me, at least, because he's not going to be as close as he was. He's going to be out traveling and roaming all over the place, and that means that we'll likely not be able to get together as much as we did in the past. And I have really enjoyed being able to hang out with him over dinner or coffee or just whatever, and just chew the fat and have those good, deep, dare I say, intellectual conversations that I think it is. Well, I think it's important for men to have those and have those absence the presence of women. It's kind of a time-honored tradition that men have a place that they go and just kind of sit down with people that they know, good friends, what have you, have a drink, have a meal, whatever. And just kind of hash things out. Just talk about the ways of the world, those things that are going on, So I'm happy for him, but I hope that he's able to keep some frequent travel back through the state, so that we can catch up and get together and have a meal and like I said, talk about the goings on of the world. I owe him. He's paid for far more meals than he should have. But anyway, speaking of the goings on, the main topic, well, really today, it's kind of different. So I wrote this script for this show on Wednesday night, before some of the events of yesterday with the new Pope. So I had originally kind of planned on talking about the poo flinging taking place in Kashmir. India and Pakistan have opened up kind of general engagements all along the contested region, which was after a terrorist attack that happened that targeted Indian tourists was carried out by some terrorists based in Pakistan. And this conflict, and it's, there's still a lingering threat out there. It has a threat to escalate into full-scale invasion and full-scale nuclear war, really. And there was reports that India had massed forces on the border and were preparing to invade. That was the last that I had heard on Wednesday, so there may have been some things that happened yesterday, and I did not get up to speed, so if I'm a little behind, I apologize. But they are really wanting to capture that Kashmir region, which is an area that is dense in sweaters and jacket resources. That's not really true, honestly. I have no idea why they are so hell-bent on taking that area, other than it's just an age-old dispute, left over from conflicts very ancient, and also just left over from, the British just drawing a line on a map at random, or seemingly at random. Although I suspect that if we really got into the deep details of why Britain just drew lines on the maps, completely absent of ethnic and religious differences, I suspect that we would find that they did that on purpose to continue to sow conflict, because that's a very proper colonial thing to do. But at any rate, least you forget both of these countries are nuclear armed. We do not really know what will trigger them to launch those weapons. I don't think that anything has been stated really openly about, if this happens, then this will create an exchange. I think it could just be a slow escalation. But it's quite possible that before next week is over, we could see at least a limited nuclear exchange. That's not out of the question at all. I don't believe that they have anywhere near the stockpiles that Western countries have, or the ability to deliver them very far. I do know that India has ballistic missiles, and they can reach out pretty far with some of those models, but I'm not up to speed on exactly what Pakistan has in their arsenal. I would have to imagine that it's Chinese-derived missiles. I don't believe that the Russians gave them anything, but they're a very, very big military partner with China, and I know China's supplied them with things, equipment and gear and whatnot. So we could really see really bad things happen before the end of the weekend, really. Now, hopefully cooler heads will prevail, but I think it's probably a good time, if you can, hit up Amazon, get yourself a radiation detector if you hadn't got one yet, because those are handy items to have around. If something goes off over there, that, who knows how far the fallout could spread from that. So might want to reach out to the old Zon there and get yourself a detector. In other news, and kind of the big news that kind of overtook things yesterday, the conclave meeting and choosing a new pope. Now, as I said, I'm having to kind of go off script here, because when I wrote this, there was no new pope. So they did pick a pope yesterday. He is an American, which is a first. He's from Chicago. Apparently he's a Cubs fan, which, boy, talk about suffering as a Cubs fan for long periods of time. But at any rate, I'm not sure what choosing this particular pope signals. My understanding, just from kind of the preliminary readings that I've done and some of the first things that he has said, and things that have been said about him, is that I kind of looked at it as sort of a fence post pope. He's not really from the ultra-conservative traditionalist side, but nor is he as far left or at least as progressive as Francis was. There's some things that he seems to fall in line with Francis about, but there are others that he's kind of signaled or said things that were not very Francis-like. I did find it interesting that he chose the name Leo. Apparently the last pope who had that name was a avowed anti-communist, anti-socialist, which is, I think there's a symbolism and a significance to that. I know that he has spoken out against the gender ideology, the gender theory, all of that kind of stuff that has been pushed in the past, and he's said, no, we're not going to talk about that. We're not going to do that. It's not beneficial, and not. I don't know that he went as far as to say it was ungodly, but I got that impression. But on the flip side, I think he's taken a lot of flack for covering up, or at least being part of not being more open and honest about the abuse scandals that have happened within the church in Chicago. There's a lot of criticism that has come his way about that, and I think that's kind of the crux of what could happen here, what route the church takes with this new pope. This is an opportunity for the church to right itself and fix itself. And I think if this pope in particular, he could take the route and take the tact of cleansing the church of this problem, this abuse problem, the scandals that have come out. I think it's time publicly for the church to acknowledge these things, acknowledge that there were mistakes made, that those things are not going to happen again. Maybe go so far as to settle with some of the victims who have been identified and who are still out there, and come clean about this, because you're not going to build more trust in the church if you continue to deny these things or suppress them and underplay them. I think this is the opportunity for the church to get right with itself and make things better, and build on what is already starting to happen with this sort of rise in spirituality that has happened. There's been a surge in baptisms and people joining different churches, but particularly the Catholic Church. And this is an opportunity to grow that and clean up the Catholic Church and do that in the eyes of everybody, to restore some of the dignity of the church. And I think it's part of a general movement back towards some type of guidance that people are looking for. Now, all of these things going on in the world kind of has me trying to kind of bring all this back together here. It makes me think of my friend moving and the very stressful time that people have when they're moving. It's a very hard time in your life. It's a major upheaval. It's a liminal time. So what does that mean? Liminal means between. It's a time between times. There are strange things that happen during these times in your life. So much so, people have reported paranormal activity during these liminal times of their life. So often that's been reported that it's a factor in when you're doing paranormal research, when they're going out and they're talking to people who are reporting that these things have happened to them. They say, "Well, what's going on in your life right now? Are you moving? Are you having these kind of changes that are happening?" It's a weird thing. It's a weird time. You're between one space and another, between one time and another. And I can't help but think that we are in a liminal time right now in the world. And the church is surely in a liminal time. So we should be watching for some odd things to happen. Now, I thought that we might see some very strange things happen around this conclave, but so far nothing of the sort has come out. But we don't know. We don't know what could happen downstream based off of this pick. This could be the end of the church. We don't know. But like I said, it could be a resurgence. It's a hot topic. It remains to be seen what will happen. Anyway, that is really all I have on the show this week. It's really all I kind of wanted to cover. I think you guys have likely heard a lot about the Shiloh Henderson video, which has kind of been the other meme topic, I guess, of the week. So I don't think I'll go into all that here. I really just wanted to get a video out and give you guys some heads up on the India-Pakistan thing. And I would point you to Forward Observer, the situation reports that Sam puts out over there. If you're not already following that, you should be. You should subscribe and get those. He's got a Telegram channel. He pushes those out on Telegram. And also the S2 channel on YouTube. Watch him as well. Both wealth of information, both of those, and about international as well as national things taking place. They're very well done from guys who were professionals doing this. So it's good stuff. And also, I mentioned this on Gab late last week. If you haven't watched it, go check out the Catherine Austin Fitz interview on Tucker Carlson. Major interview there. She lays down some information that you may not have been aware of. Although longtime listeners to the show will know I've kind of sent you to her direction before in the past, different interviews that she's done, because I think she is a wealth of information, a very smart cookie, and she has legitimacy and some veritas there because of what she's done in the past and the positions that she's held, and who she has hobnobbed with, or the circles that she's ran in. It's really, really interesting stuff. The video or the interview, I think she tried to keep things a little bit more down to earth for Tucker's audience, because she's not always that down to earth on some of the other shows that she's done. She's a little bit more open about where she believes a lot of that missing money went to, and it isn't underground bunkers. She mentioned the secret space program on the Tucker show, but she didn't really get into any details about that. But that is something that she has gone into in the past in other episodes. But anyway, check that out. Good stuff. And that is all I have time for this week. Like and subscribe. Come see us over on Gab. Nice crew. And the Cold Fury blog. By the way, say a prayer for Mike at Cold Fury. He has had another major surgery, and he is healing, but he's still in a bad way, so keep him in your thoughts. Anyway, with that, I will see you on the next episode.